The PWC Network. What the world is watching and listening to.
سبحان فالق الإصباح.
Allahu Akbar!
Ding dong. Hello?
Yes, that's right, infidels. You found us here, channelattitude.com, Hameen Media Group, where you get the most real talk, the best reviews of all your favorite wrestling shows from AEW and WWE, Impact, and more, because we're going to break it all down with the best staff in professional wrestling at HMG. So you don't need to go anywhere else, because there's no 5 stars here. There's only $5 face slaps, infidel.
Allahu Akbar!
So sign up today, channelattitude.com, Hameen Media Group, and join the Hameen Army for the most real talk in professional wrestling. YOLO!
Warning. The following video clip contains strong language and has therefore been rated 18+ by the YouTube NECCA. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello everyone and welcome to the PWC Friday Night SmackTalk Saturday edition. I'm your host Jimmy T, and my co-host, he's always my co-host when it comes to the SmackTalk. He is none other than the drunk drafting established since 1990, I guess. He is Dr. Evil Dose, or Dr. Jeff Lippman, whatever you want to call him. Welcome back to Friday Night SmackTalk. It is a special draft edition, Jeff. I mean, if you can't hear the NFL on Fox theme, heck, it should have been the theme for tonight, right? I mean, gee.
No, I hear music that's been altered enough to make a transformative that sounds a little bit like the NFL on Fox.
I see what you did there. I see what you did. What the hell was this draft, man? I mean, this felt so fucking unorganized to me. I don't even know what to say anymore.
Yeah. It was not only disorganized, but it was not creative, and it was uninspired. And you know, the only thing that was interesting about it is that it was different from the usual WWE programming format, where you get recap after recap after recap mania. So from that perspective, you know, that was good, but it was more like, you know, they were nostalgia acts. Some of them didn't really make sense in the place they were at, and I don't know, you know. It lost any bearing of sense by round 2, no later than round 3.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they should have like waited a little bit for the draft, where at least organize it properly, then get into it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just rushing about like they have with this. I mean, what else can you call it?
Like, spoiler to anybody who comes upon the show, you know, accidentally, or is watching on one of our live feeds, or only listens to PWC shows, which is great. We love all of you. But, you know, we had a practice run of this earlier on SmackDown. Now, I left halfway through because I had to do a Garden of Doom. So we've had sort of a practice run on this already. And hopefully Jimmy got some of his rage out, because he was super annoyed about a lot of stuff. I was almost like, you know what, I really don't care that much, but I agree there was a lot of stupid stuff, and some of it we'll see. Here's the problem with WWE, is they haven't given us a whole lot of reason to put faith in what they're going to do going forward, except that they have been sort of better lately. So, like, I want to give the benefit of doubt some places, but there was nothing about this draft. So, I don't want to get into the substance of it, but during Smack Attack, I think it was Chris who actually brought it up, that they could have made this simulate more of a regular draft, like the NFL draft, like the movie Moneyball or Draft Day, which was the watered down one with Kevin Costner about baseball instead. And, and none of us had practiced this. And we, I'm like, yeah, they could have had a desk for, the men's main event. They could have had a men's tag team division, women's main event, women's tag team division. They could have had the NXT scouting team. They could have had like, legends from the past or people that we know are in production that we don't normally see on TV anymore or only in passing, like Shane Helms and Daivari and things like that, having roles and doing things as well as like, Teddy Longs and, Michael Hayes not trying to look like he's still from 1988 and actually dressing like an adult. I don't know. I mean, they could have had a war room with, writing people off the war, the whiteboard. You could have had, Medusa Michelli or Luncher Bays, I guess, in WWE, like being mad when Bianca was picked because that was going to be her pick for, for Raw, and then having to look down to the next on her chart. And I don't know. There was just, it's like they barely tried. They broke this up into, they said 100% of the roster is going to be drafted on SmackDown or Raw. That was lie number one. Then they told us that 50% were eligible tonight, 50% were eligible on Monday. There was no rhyme or reason for why they separated the two, I guess only so that the top stars didn't feel like they weren't top stars when they weren't picked early. But they could have just said that it was by hat. You picked a 1 or a 2, and if you got 1, you're on night 1. If you picked 2, you're on night 2. Whatever. There was random. And then they've been doing, and you knew they were going to do it, but they've been posting draft picks today being Saturday. So they lied, saying 100% are going to be on tonight, Friday night, and Monday. No, they're continuing through the weekend. I mean, and this is what they've done in prior years. So did they not even give thought to the lies that they were telling while they were telling them?
I'm glad you brought that up because I could have sworn, didn't they initially say that it was going to start this past Monday on Raw, going into SmackDown? I thought I heard that initially.
No, I think it was always about what. One of the things that Triple H did clarify, I mean, 2 things that are apparently very important to him. First of all, he said that 3 things, I guess. One was that a select number of NXT superstars were available for the draft. And to get this out of the way early, we saw them. I think it was candid. I don't think they had any idea who was being drafted or when, because we saw Grayson Waller on camera hugging Indy Hartwell. And if they were in character, there's no way he would have done that. But the reason why they were probably drafted night 1, and it was probably to get some of the candidates, and also because Monday night, I don't know where Raw is going to be, but it's nowhere near Orlando, Florida, which is where NXT is, and I'm sure they want them back at the Performance Center ASAP to practice and rehearse, and no travel issues. The other 2 things he said is that the new WWE World Heavyweight title will be exclusive to Raw. He got that. He made sure we understood that, and he also said that the new draft rosters will be in effect Monday, May 8th, as of Raw, the Raw after Backlash.
Oh, boy, man. Like I said, I'm flabbergasted, Jeff. First of all, I just want to say, like, let's talk about that world title for a second. Oh, you see the comments?
Yeah, I'm going to put it up to full screen so I'm not distracted by them anymore.
I know. It's bad, but he does say yes, and if people didn't think, and that's Media M5, didn't think NXT would be part of it to get their most seasoned on TV, they were fucking dumb. And he goes on to say, I'm not happy with Indy Hartwell. I can't stand that no chin. Jesus Christ. Nevertheless, she is good in their eyes to be on Raw. Shindex. Or Chindex.
We'll talk about Indy later. I know. I think everybody knew that there would be NXT people who were drafted. I'm not, and it was sort of leaked who they probably would be. It's just the when, where, and how. And there was at least one surprise, but I'm just trying to explain why NXT people were picked Friday, before, say, like Seth Rollins or Charlotte Flair was picked.
Did Seth Rollins end up getting picked, actually?
I don't think he was on the eligibility list. I'm not really 100% sure of that. But The answer is no. Again, it was just a logistics thing for them, and I guess they wanted to get the candids and maybe get some of those folks some screen time, but I don't know. Yeah, but what else?
Well, before we talk about that in more detail, I want to ask you about the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now that's going to be the title for Monday Night Raw. What do you think of that, man? Like, are you cool with that? Does it make Cody look sort of stupid after what he said initially when he first signed back with WWE? Or is it just me?
It's definitely not just you, but I'm definitely not as animated about it as you are. And I'm not sure where Cody is now is where he's going to be by Tuesday or by a month.
Well, assuming he stays on Raw.
Right. I mean, if he does and it stays the way it is, that's a little bit weird unless they have some plan. But I'm not as invested in Cody as a lot of people. I mean, as you remember, I did pick Cody to win because I thought that the moment at WrestleMania, that is, because I thought the moment was building and that was going to be
So did I. Right.
And then Chris, but I also said, but I don't really care. I'm okay either way. And my reasoning was not as, Chris's was more about story arcs in the hero's journey, and that he hasn't struggled enough, and then the money's in the chase, and then that the story isn't over yet. It's just this chapter, and everything he said was correct. But for me, it was just like, he gets this title in 3 to 6 weeks. Everyone's just going to remember it's Cody Rhodes, and they're going to start to be bored with him. Right by what? My camera's crooked, and it's really bothering the shit out of me. But so anyway, I know that everyone thinks Cody's the guy right now, but I like they thought Kofi was the guy then, and Big E was the guy, and Adam Page was the guy. No, most people aren't the guy, and I don't think Cody's the. Fuck this shit. Fuck this. Whoop whoop. Fuck this shit.
Don't stress, man. I do it all the time. Trust me. It's all good.
But
do what you need to do.
But I'm assuming something, and that is that Roman is not going to be carrying around 2 belts. That they're going to retire his belts and merge them into one. They're not going to have 3 world title belts that everyone's talking about. So I'm assuming that one complaint's going to come off the table. I don't care. All it's going to be is how it was before, where Raw had a world champion on NBC, Comcast, Universal, and then SmackDown's going to have their Universal Championship. And in a year or whatever, no one's going to remember, and you're going to say, well, but that lineage is in the Universal belt, and then Triple H and WWE.com is going to say, no, the board of directors has decided that the Raw WWE World Heavyweight Champion maintains the lineage. The end, and that's going to be. This is all made up. None of it matters. It's all fake shit. So,
but it matters, bro. It matters. That's the thing. Say what you want. It actually does.
But the fact that there's more people like you than me is actually a win for them, because if people weren't annoyed or excited by it, and they were more like me, just like, whatever, it's a fucking belt, I don't care, it's wrestling. Apathy is the worst for wrestling. I mean, especially if there's people with my attitude that are like 14 to 30, because those people will give up. I'm too old. I'm not. It's just happened now. It's like I never smoked, but I can't quit this addiction. This is the thing. This is wrestling's what's going to kill me early. But
don't say that.
He is most people going, but I don't get upset about stage sets. I don't care about what the color of the ring ropes are. I don't care about the color.
See, even that bothers me, Jeff.
I know, and I don't care about what the theme songs are generally, and what songs for what WrestleManias bang. I don't go back and rewatch pay-per-views. It just, I'm not that guy. But there needs to be less of me and more of you, unless you could make more of me that just watched for 45 fucking years. That they'll take.
I think you're desensitized to how WWE do shit. I mean, so am I, but it still frustrates me. I think it would have bothered you deep down, but you just got into the point where you just don't care anymore. It is what it is.
This stuff never bothered me. I mean,
never, not even back like in the good old days.
No, and I never really bought into Jericho as the Universal title, so I never really cared about the Universal title.
Neither did I, to be honest with you. I'll be straight up. I didn't think he was ready at that time.
I looked at Jericho and I saw a vanilla midget, just like I do now. I've always
you know,
been
when they
the same.
should have pulled. No, I agree. I actually agree with you, man. You know, when they should have really pulled the trigger with Jericho in 2000, when he beat Triple H, if you remember. You know, remember that debacle?
Maybe, but I wouldn't like that because I like Triple H. I never really cared about Jericho.
Me
I
too.
mean,
I don't
not about
understand
Jericho,
how.
but I was always the
Right.
same. I'm always like, if they're not over 6 feet and they're not over 245, I don't give. I generally don't give a fuck about you.
Jericho's undisputed title reign sucked. Let's be real. Let's be honest. It sucked.
I thought it did.
It actually did. It really did, man. People like to think back to that time like it was a lot better and bigger than it was, but it really wasn't.
Like maybe if Brock Lesnar was the first undisputed champion, like that would have had me more in, or Lashley, like one of my cartoon comic book, heroes, then maybe I would have been more invested in it. But they weren't, and I wasn't. We were like the Undertaker, something like that could have kept me in.
Brock would have been good during that time, but he hadn't made his debut yet because that was 2001, not 2002.
Right.
But
Right.
but still,
You're
and the fact
exactly
that Jericho beat Austin and friggin' Rock in the same match, I don't buy it.
Right. Yeah, and everyone's like, "This star-making performance." Oh.
No, it wasn't. It actually done nothing for him. Let's be honest. It really didn't. What did it really do for Jericho? Honestly.
I don't know. I mean, listen, I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on Jericho. Chris Jericho has had one of the most successful careers in professional wrestling history.
Absolute legend.
He's still doing it, and somehow he's the most important person in AEW, and good for him. And I'm not saying like I like the list. I like there's lots of that. I like how he got over a scarf.
Oh, I love the list. I
like even about a year ago, and he was the Ring of Honor World Champion, and he was calling himself the Ocho, and he said that he's going to be the greatest Ring of Honor champion of all time, and they gave up on that as soon as they found out that no Ring of Honor wasn't going to get TV. But I actually thought that was a pretty good gimmick. So I don't want people to think that I don't like Jericho. Even recently, there's been some stuff that I've liked. I recognize he's an all-time great because of longevity. It's just in no particular moment has he ever been in my top 20 of favorites.
Can we just say, we might catch heat for this, is he kind of overrated? Maybe not so much now, but at one point, especially back then, I would say he was. I mean, later on, when he got his second run with the World Heavyweight Championship, by that point, he was ready. He was a seasoned vet, and he was ready. That first title reign, it was just, it didn't do nothing for WWE. It didn't really do anything for himself. I don't think it did anything.
Well, I think he is overrated. People have him, call him a goat. He's not a
hell.
First of all, there's the goat. I mean, if you want to divide goats into, men's world champions, females champions, tag team champions, and you want to do it that way, or you even want to divide it super heavyweights, cruiserweights, I don't know. But just to call him a goat, no, he's not. He's not the goat. He's not a goat. He's probably in my top 75. That probably sounds like crazy to a lot of people, but there have been tens of thousands of wrestlers, and you're going to put Jericho above Randy Orton. I mean, you're going to put him. I mean, and I don't know where in my top 75 he might be 35. I'm not saying he's number 75. I remember somebody once got mad at me because I said Samoa Joe is in the top 100 wrestlers of all time. That's like in the top 1%. And they're like, Samoa Joe, he's an all-time great. I'm like, yeah, he is an all-time great. That's why he's in the top 100. I mean, there's probably 3,000 active wrestlers right now. But who am I putting? Am I putting him ahead of Scott Hall? Am I putting him ahead of Rick Rude? Am I putting him ahead of Jake Roberts? Am I putting him against Andre?
No.
Right. I mean, and you could go on and on. Am I putting him against above Harley Race and Bruno? No. It's just if you go through the annals of wrestling history, there's dozens of greats. And to call someone in the top 100 all time is not an insult.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I love Samoa Joe, as you do too, but if you want to be straight up and honest about it, there's been so many greats in this business that you can't possibly put him above certain wrestlers, man. I mean, he was a draw for TNA, but was he really a draw? Like, when you think about it, I mean, is many wrestlers in today's professional wrestling really a draw? Do you know what I'm saying? There's not many. It's very few. It's pretty rare.
He was a minor league all-star, and he's been a solid player in the major leagues. But listen, I know he's older, and who knows what's going on with him. But I mean, we haven't even seen him on AEW in several months, and even before
I forgot about him.
I mean, I guess he's the Ring of Honor television champion. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. But if that's the case, they decided to keep him primarily on Ring of Honor and not AEW. For what reason, I'm not sure. But, I mean, would AEW be a better television show with Samoa Joe on it? Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Even if you just put him on commentary instead of freaking Excalibur. I mean, just...
And he's extremely underrated on commentary, just quietly, I think, anyway.
He was great. That was an enormous mistake that Vince made. If he didn't want him to wrestle, he should have kept him on Raw commentary. The Raw commentary team has not even come close to recovering since Samoa Joe was demoted.
But they still give Kevin Patrick chance after chance, it seems, man. I mean, even, what was that, Jimmy?
Nice guy. He sucks.
What was the other guy's name? Jimmy Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Smith, wasn't it?
Right, Jimmy Smith.
I know he didn't know shit all about professional wrestling because he really didn't, right? But he was a good commentator in terms of his voice, right?
Yeah, he was fine. He was.
I would have preferred him any day over this Kevin Patrick, man.
Me too, 100%. And Raw, because it's 3 hours, really needs a third person. You need a third voice, or you need some rotating stuff in there. I mean... And there's people that aren't wrestling that can talk that you can put there. I mean, I don't think she's particularly interesting. I don't really know this for sure, but Natalia knows a lot about wrestling. Like, maybe try her. I mean, Alexa Bliss, when she was fighting with Corey Graves, that was fun. Now, Corey Graves is on SmackDown, but who knows? Maybe she could fight with Wade, Wait, no, Corey Graves is on Raw, isn't he?
No, he's on Raw. Yeah. Unless he got drafted to SmackDown that I don't know of, but yeah, he's on Raw.
So put Alexa back there. Let them bicker again.
But you need a play-by-play guy, though, not two colors.
Well, but she'd be the third. She wouldn't be the second.
Okay, so including Kevin Patrick then. I thought you meant taking Patrick out.
I would get rid of Kevin Patrick. I don't know what you do there. I mean...
So who would you go for right now as a color person?
I mean...
Not color, sorry. Play-by-play, sorry.
I know he's doing other things, but they're smaller. I mean, why not Kevin Kelly?
He's underrated, Kevin Kelly. I agree. But, I don't know if they would go back for him. But...
Why?
You've also... I don't know. I don't know if there's any heat with him, like leaving WWE back in the day, whatever the case. I thought, for example, back at Forbidden Door, he outshined everybody else on that commentator's table, man, and it made the AEW guys look kind of bad when Kevin Kelly was on. I don't know if he was just being extra professional because he's on worldwide television again and whatnot, but he impressed me during that time. And I was never his biggest fan, like from back in the day. I just wasn't. But right now, I can respect him. He's better than freaking Kevin Patrick, that's for sure.
What's wrong with bringing up Vic Joseph? I mean,
Vic Joseph is great, dude. I think he's so underrated in terms of in WWE's like commentating stratosphere, man. I think he should definitely be the play-by-play guy on Raw. Didn't they bring him up for a little bit at one stage and then brought him back down?
I think he wants to work with his wife.
Okay. Who's his wife again?
Mackenzie Mitchell. She's the the head interviewer on NXT.
That's his wife? Oh.
Yeah, he did pretty well for himself.
Good on him.
I don't blame him for wanting, but it's a couple days a week, man. You can fly back to Orlando. I mean,
I know, man. Come on, it's not like he has to travel like the rest of us do.
Right? Yeah, he's not going to house shows and shit. So
right.
And I'm sure it'd be a lot more money. He's not great, but he's good enough. Give Ian Riccaboni a try.
I don't mind him at times. The thing, and look, it's nothing against him as a person. He's a great guy, but he's just too chill. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's too relaxed, and I don't think WWE would like that.
I don't think he is. I think he's too exuberant about the boredom that's on Ring of Honor. But I think that's the only way he can stay awake.
Though. Yeah, well, that's true.
That's Caprice Coleman who does the whispering. I don't know. I'd give him a try. I'd give him a tryout. See how it goes.
Yeah, Riccaboni. What about what's his name, man? He was in NXT. Fuck, how did I forget his name? Bipolar guy. Yeah, Morrow. That's it. Yeah. Morrow.
I'm very much in the minority. I can't stand
Ronaldo.
him. I can't stand him.
Really?
Yeah,
What, is it
drives me
too
crazy.
marky for you, or?
Yeah, too marky for me. Too loud. Mama mia, shut up.
Mamma mia! Well, geez, I mean, you had, Joey Styles had his catchphrase like "Can't fight," and you got Michael Cole saying, "Are you kidding me?" These days, that's his
I understand.
catchphrase.
It's just Morrow he was all over the top all the time.
Yeah,
I felt
true.
like I was
but when he
listening
got
to a
excited, though,
Domino's auction with him.
oof. What is he doing these days? Is he even still around? I haven't heard
Don
nothing
West,
from
he
Mauro.
died a year ago.
No, not Don West. I know he passed away. I'm talking about Mauro Ranallo.
Oh, well, every now and then his name comes up for something. He's still around doing gigs here and there. I don't think he's capable of working any place.
No, he's too soft. Sorry, I said it. You're soft,
I don't know
man.
if he's soft or it's just if his mental illness is stronger than medication's ability to keep one functional. But
He
whatever.
can't take a bit of, like banter, dude. Like, that's
Well,
an issue for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is something going on in the world today. There's something in the water.
Definitely something in the water. Well, anyway, also I want to ask you, Jeff, because there's a couple of things I've actually wanted to ask you this week. What about all the hoopla about CM Punk? What'd you think?
Well, we talked about this. You and I talked about this on the skirmish.
Oh yeah, we probably did. Well, man, I've done a few shows since.
I
can't
know
remember who
you
I've
forgot
spoken
because
about.
you talked about it with the vet.
No, you're right. You're right. It was you.
Like
It was
never
you that
talked
brought it
about
up
before.
first. You're right. Don't worry about it. You're right because it was you that brought it up first, and then I asked the vet. That's spot on. You're right. No, forget it. Forget I even asked, man. Like I said, it feels like an eternity since that show now. Believe it or not.
Well,
But
everyone
actually
go check
wasn't.
out the skirmish. Because usually you get Jimmy and Chris. This time you get Jimmy and me. It's it's different. And check out the Machismo because usually you got Jimmy and me this week you got Jimmy and the vet. So there's at least one
few
upgrade
changes.
there. You can decide which.
No, man. You're both great. But it feels like Chris hasn't been around in a while. I don't think he's been on the show all week.
Well,
But,
he was on Smack Attack this morning. And
on Smack Attack, I'm talking about on the PWC though.
I hear a rumor he'll be on Uncaged.
I hear that rumor too, but can I survive till that time? Well, I don't know. We'll see.
Oh man, but there's this thing called coffee.
That's true. That's true. Look at my eyes, dude. But anyway, we've got a few comments in the chat. Medium 5 said before, only goats I like is Imos of Lucky. Fucking A.
Gyro. I'm a hero man.
I'm a Euro man too, absolutely. Oh man, my parents made the best Euro this past Easter. But anyway, Chris Winland says in the chat, NXT is already suffering. Can they really stand to lose more talent? There are only a handful of current class who might fit on the main roster. Imagine being the stars passed up for Indy Harwell. First of all, it doesn't matter who they lose because it's developmental.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's irrelevant. Sorry.
As far as I'm concerned, if 5 people a year come up from NXT to the main roster, it has succeeded in its mission. But so far, who have they lost? Apollo Crews, who really wasn't doing anything there anyway. JD McDonough, who I can't stand. I don't ever need to see him again. Von Wagner, who nobody likes. You got Indy Hartwell, who, as far as I'm concerned, is just there to fill out another women's tag team because she's on Raw with Candice LeRae. So the way will be back of as a team.
Guaranteed.
And we'll have something for Dexter Loomis to do because he's not really getting over himself. So they gave us a women's tag team. I think that Alba Dawn and Isla Fire are a real loss for NXT, but it's more important to bring up another. So you brought up 2 established women's tag teams to the main roster. I don't know what they're doing with the NXT women's titles. We'll figure. I hope they just don't lose them to K&K. I know that's what everybody's expecting. I hope they don't. I hope they bring them up and they have to sort of cross-defend them for a while. But we have women's tag team championships in WWE that can be defended on either brand, and we have exactly 0 tag teams unless you count Damage Control, which isn't really a team. And if Kairi Sane, who is, there's rumors, and there's always rumors about this, but if she comes back and they reform the Kabuki Warriors, you have another great team right there. I'm willing to say Liv and Raquel are a team at this point. If Carmella comes back, her and Chelsea are a real team. Now you have a division. Now you have 6 or 7 teams. You have a division. You can always slap together a few more if you need to.
No doubt.
But who else who have they lost? Indy Hartwell? No one's watching NXT for Indy Hartwell. So I don't know who else will be in the mix before all is said and done, but probably Braun Breaker. But like I said, NXT's job is to build people for WWE, not for NXT, which even on their big shows doesn't quite do 650,000 viewers anymore. And by the way, I don't care for I think right now the crop, especially of men's athletes in NXT, have been dull as shit. They have an embarrassment of riches with women's wrestlers, so I disagree on that. And what's her name? The one everyone likes with the Lions, Nikita Lyons. She's probably coming back pretty soon. I know Sol Ruka just got injured, but there's still a lot of really talented women down there, and they just brought up there are some men there that like. I know he's only had one match, but I'm already more interested in Oba Femi than I've been in Von Wagner, Duke Hudson, Brooks Jensen, the Dyad, and almost any of the British guys and European guys that they brought over. So Wesley is down there, So I don't know what they're doing with the Sangha Maniacs. I hope they get drafted, but they're cool. The Creeds are still down there as far as I know. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, we'll see. And like I was saying, man, Chris, it doesn't really matter who they lose and if they can afford or can't afford to lose, because no one really watches NXT, let's be honest.
But they just brought Dragon Lee in. He hasn't had much time to shine. Let's let him shine.
Exactly. That's right. And on top of that, it's developmental, man. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't matter who the main roster gets out of NXT, because the whole point of NXT right now is to make new stars. You know what I mean? So keep that machine moving.
Players. Do you think Zoe Stark is going to be a star? No, I don't. But do I think that she could be someone in an ensemble or a group or have a good match, or someone that's a plausible, whatever. They don't do this so much in WWE, but I've always said they need some of those people who lose 65 out of every 100 matches, but win 35, so that they're plausible losers. You need your Dolph Zigglers, out there that you don't always know the result of the match, and every now and then they surprise you. And Zoe Stark could be perfect for that. Whatever. And it just
doesn't fit the main roster, though. I don't know.
Really fit it. She doesn't fit this era of wrestling. If she came in I don't know, like if she went to Stardom or something, she'd probably fit in perfect there. Or
perfect for Stardom.
I don't know. She's a good athlete. She can't really talk. I've said it before. It's been mean. I actually heard John Draper say it also, and I know he doesn't listen to me, so he came up with this on his own, and we put a mask on her. put a mask on her. It will hide and don't speak. It will hide because she's a great wrestler.
Great wrestler. Hey, I used to say it too. I mean,
great look, neck down.
Remember what I used to say? Me and Chris specifically used to say it. We used to call, unfortunately, Zoe Starks like she's a meth head, if you remember. We used to say that because,
I think that might have been my fault.
Yeah, it could have been. I can't remember, but it was a long time ago.
It's not like something I would have done.
Well, she's improved a lot since then, but at one stage she looked very bad.
Well, if you know what I mean. She's sort of been adopting the badass thing, and she pulls her hair back because she does that very sort of, I don't know, whatever. I don't want to spend too much time on Zoe Stark, but I don't think they drafted any stars from NXT. Just though Alba Dawn and Isla Fire might be in the tag team division.
They will be their biggest success, I bet you.
As soon as I saw Isla Dawn, I'm like, she's amazing. She's the best parts of Rhea Ripley and Scarlett Bordeaux without being, like too sexy bombshellish. And as soon as I saw an Alba Fire who I had no interest with before, that everyone loved Alba Fire, and I'm like, these two should be a team. And they became a team.
Right, I know. It's a miracle. And you know what? It improved both of them, let's be honest, right? It really did. I can't stand...
well, Isla was only there for 2 or 3 weeks before it happened, so you can't really say it improved her, because she came and got... I don't know that I've seen anything... Roxanne Perez may be the only person that's accelerated more quickly.
Oh, no, I'm talking about since they got together, because I thought without each other, they sucked, in my opinion, and I couldn't stand Amber Fire, whatever the fuck her name is.
Alba.
Alba, whatever. She
And
can't
anybody
talk.
who-
Change your accent.
And anybody who's seen us on Conflict or seen me talk about NXT before, I mean, you know you would know that I think that Wesley is like your best chance for a new Rey Mysterio. I think he's like the perennial babyface underdog who's believable. And so they haven't drafted them yet, but if they did, is it a blow to NXT? Yeah, but they have Axiom, Nathan Frazier, they have Tyler Bate, they have Ilya Dragunov. They have a million little flying around guys.
Little guys.
Right, they got Dragon Lee is there now. So
can we call him Dragonfly? Do you think WWE might actually do that in the future? I'm being serious.
Well, they did Bearcat, so sure, why not Dragonfly? Will his move be the Spanish Fly?
In this case, it'd be the Mexican Fly, but close enough. I know that's adaptation, but seriously, the Dragonfly, I can see it. El Dragonfly.
Yeah, well,
oh shit! I'm waiting for it because they'll change his name soon. I'm telling you, they will. They've done this with how many guys?
I don't think they will change his name. One, because they haven't changed yet, and also because it's bothering Tony Khan, and I think that they like that it bothers Tony Khan.
Good, as it should. He should have signed him a long time ago. I mean, he's got his other two brothers, right? But he doesn't have.
Is Jalistico all elite? I know Roosh is, but I mean, Jalistico just seems to be. Oh, by the way, Commander injured himself.
Did he? Oh,
yeah,
how did he do it? Please.
He couldn't finish the triple threat match with Aries and El Hijo de Vikingo at the AAA something on whatever their show was.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
No, it's just a matter of time with these guys. I mean, I want to say I hope it's not serious. I mean, for his sake as a human being. It is. But for all these clowns who think that they can do this thing and this is what makes someone a wrestling star, no, it doesn't. Well, you'd rather, I assure all of you, you'd rather have a Dolph Ziggler Miz career than the year and a half that Commander's going to have.
I wonder what he's commanding. And why would you call yourself Commander? What's he commanding? The ring?
I don't know, but the K is obviously for knee.
I was going to just say that. He's not even spelling it correctly, but whatever. Right. It is what it is. Chris says, my last question for you guys. Do you feel WWE is throwing too much at the wall to distract from the sale? New belt, the draft, backdraft, Night of Champions, Money in the Bank soon. After that, etc., etc. No, I don't think so because that's already been done and dusted at this point. So I don't think, why would they want to distract you from the sale that's already been told a million times?
That's nothing but good news.
Right. So
I mean, their stock, last I checked, was over $107.
Yeah.
Why would they want to distract from the sale? I mean, they're getting bought for $9.5 billion. This is a wrestling company. I mean, Tony Khan may lose $9.5 billion before all is said and done, but this is a wrestling company, for God's sake.
Yeah, no, I think you're thinking way too
deep. Shit movies.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, like I said, Chris, I think you're thinking way too deep. There's no conspiracy theory. There's no whatever. It's just
why distract? I mean, they have Backlash every year. They're actually changing it into a big deal show because Puerto Rico and Bad Bunny. Then they're going to go to Saudi Arabia. And they just didn't want to call it Crown Jewel, so they call it Night of Champions.
Yeah, isn't Night of Champions fucking in Saudi Arabia this year? Right, so the new champion is going to be crowned, no pun intended, in Saudi Arabia.
Right, and that's a great way to sell the show to Saudi Arabia, even if Roman doesn't have to make the trip. You're getting a championship match. Anyway, you shake it.
We want Roman Reigns.
Sheik and under-sheik and emirs and emirates and caliphs and sultans and sultanates.
If Cody wins the so-called big one in Saudi Arabia, I legitimately will start feeling sorry for him.
Why?
The American Nightmare, all right. That's all I got to say. That's why.
Why? So what? What's the difference where he makes? It's going to be a PLE, and he probably gets $1.5 million bonus for performing on that show.
Well, first of all, he doesn't.
Probably more like $400,000, but still.
I still don't think he would. Yeah, maybe. I still don't think he really wanted to go for this championship, and I feel like it's a consolation prize for him.
I don't think he gives two shits. I think he came up with that story because it sounded good. I don't think it matters.
You really think that? You really think that?
These titles don't mean anything. I mean, it's nice to look back on your resume and say, I had this many championships. I mean, you'd rather be that than look back and be, I don't know, the Brooklyn Brawler and have never won a championship anywhere, I suppose. But no, I don't think it matters which title.
It still represents you're the best in the company, though.
It doesn't mean you're the best
Jeff.
in the company. It means it means that the company thinks that you're either the biggest star of it, or that the title will make you a star where they want you to be.
I don't know. That's debatable, but Goldberg, new heavyweight champion, lost.
Yeah,
that would be great.
When he beats MJF and All In.
Oh, imagine that, man! Imagine that. Jesus Christ! You know, TK is dumb enough to do that in a way.
Oh, I mean, what's the biggest cry for help that he could possibly do? And that would be Goldberg.
Medium 5 says no. It's because of the sound and all involved is why they are doing this. I don't understand. What do you mean?
They do the draft every year. I think why they're doing this is to further the bloodline story and to be able to have two champions again. And the real reason why they're doing it is because they are in the right of first refusal, exclusive TV rights negotiating period of time with both Fox and Comcast Universal. That's why they're doing this. Don't think it's for any good. Don't think it's for any good, good-natured reason. It's entirely a selfish reason. It's just a different selfish reason than the one you think.
Also, you've been saying this all along that the draft was coming. It was coming. It was coming. It was coming. You say it's not like
right. People kept reporting it was going to be in the fall. I'm like, that sounds like a long ways away.
Right. Yeah, it's true. He also thinks doing this equals belt storylines, etc., etc. They needed another belt, but yes, you're right. Yeah. And it's not for Cody, apparently. We'll see.
I'm not sure that he's not right about that. I don't know that Cody's necessary. I mean, I still think that Cody will either get traded, they'll trade 4 people from SmackDown to one of these free agents, almost will no longer be a free agent. He'll only go on Raw along with 3 other SmackDown people. Maybe if I don't know, let's just say, for example, that the Brawling Brutes get split up. So Sheamus is on Raw, but the other 2 are on SmackDown. So they give him almost the other 2 Brawling Brutes, and I don't know. Let's say Braun Breaker gets drafted to SmackDown, and they give him Braun Breaker for Cody. So it would have to be something.
Sheamus, Brawling Brutes, basically.
It'd be the 2 other Brutes, almost, and Braun Breaker, something like that for Cody. From SmackDown to Cody. I'm making stuff up right now. I'm just something of that level. Or listen, there's other ways too. He wins Money in the Bank. I don't want him to win Money in the Bank. I want someone else to win Money in the Bank. You could wait till Royal Rumble next year and he gets to pick, there's a million ways to do things like this. It's wrestling, and none of these rules are hard and fast. But I don't think it's going to be Cody anyway, because if this thing is we're going to make him work for it, well, they're going to make him work for it. I mean, I'd say it's more likely going to be a Seth Rollins, probably. I mean, he's he's been your standard bearer for a year. Maybe he can stop acting like a jackass and start acting serious again.
There's your first one for the evening. Actually, funny. The vet, you obviously heard the Machismo, but sure. The vet thinks that
occasionally I get things right. Very rarely, but occasionally.
He did say that. I
know. I listened.
I said, don't give him a big head. No, but anyway, a big head that already has
to correct me every time he can. I mean,
that's true.
He does, even when he doesn't mean it, like when he's being sarcastic, because you can't read sarcasm on Twitter.
Right. Well, that's also his gimmick to be sort of serious, if you know what I mean. But
he's drier than I am.
Right. Exactly. But Jesus, that threw me off. There was something I was meant to say. That was Jesus Christ. There was something serious I was meant to say. Maybe we'll come back.
That's Seth Rollins.
Oh yeah. He thinks that Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins are in the doghouse. Do you think there's some truth to that?
No.
It's hard to say, really, with that. I mean, I can see where he's coming from.
I know that Becky has a nagging injury, and I know Seth talks a lot, but he always talks a lot. So no, I don't think
That's
so.
true too. That's actually pretty true.
I don't think so. He's about to beat Omos in Puerto Rico and show that he can overcome almost any odds. So,
man, Omos shouldn't get another loss, but we'll see anyway.
Jeff, I lied about questions. Do you think USA? Yes, I absolutely do think that. I mean, that's why they lied to us and said Roman will be on both brands.
That's right. It's true. Absolutely, they wanted the championship. Except that
Could
belt
be
looks so
fine,
cheap.
but, yeah. So, should we cover SmackDown at all in the draft in some sort of an order?
Yeah, I was going to say, do we really need to cover the matches per se? I mean, it's
go
more
real
about
quick.
the draft. All right, I'll just give the results per se, but I'm not even going to really get into the matches like in depth or anything like that, because I think all these matches are pretty irrelevant at this point right now. But
if you were drafted this night, you won. Especially if you got drafted to SmackDown, you won your match. That's
oh god, where are we? Let's see.
Let's start at the beginning. Triple H comes out. He does his "Are you ready?" shtick. The first pick for SmackDown was the Bloodline. The Bloodline being identified as Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, and Solo Sikoa. So Paul Heyman gets drafted, but the Usos do not. That's the first big swerve of the night.
Right, and apparently,
reported by everybody beforehand. But yes.
It's funny. Before I continue on, you know what's funny? I've been seeing articles that say that Cody Rhodes is the biggest loser in this draft. Apparently, I haven't clicked on it. I don't know why, but that's what people are saying.
Well, I mean, they are all assuming what you're assuming right now, and again, as I said earlier, maybe not without cause, but that they did all this, finish the story, and now he can't possibly finish the story, at least not in the near term, but. I mean, I know the famous last words, especially with wrestling, is let the story play out, because it usually doesn't do so satisfying. But the draft isn't even over yet, and we haven't, seen much of anything yet. So,
let's get into it.
We'll get back to it. Yeah. So the next, and then the Triple H is announcing the first picks, and the first pick for Raw is in fact the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. So he and Roman are split from shows, and Roman, because the Raw champion is exclusive to Raw, the WWE World Champion, Roman is no longer going to be, covering both brands, and so those two their ships shall not pass, but in the night.
Well, I've got a problem with the first pick though. Before we get back to Cody, why is Sikoa sort of packed together with Roman Reigns? But not the Usos. It's kind of weird. If you're going to do that, then have them all together as a faction. Isn't that what they say? Like they can do, like the factions all stay together practically, or not faction, but tag teams and whatnot.
Well, clearly that was not consistently done. I mean, I think that this was done. The insinuation is that that's how Roman said he wants it to be. In other words, the Usos right now, they're on the outs with the Bloodline. Which is still stupid, because if the Usos won last night in their rematch and had the titles, and then Raw drafted them, I mean, they really wouldn't be part of the Bloodline. Well, I guess if they were the unified tag team, they could go wherever they wanted. So
because it's storyline, but what's the story like in the draft purpose? Not when it comes to the Usos leaving the Bloodline.
I mean, the storyline spoiled the main event, though. I don't think anybody thought the Usos were getting their titles back.
Nah, not
Spoiler,
at all.
they didn't.
They didn't, right? He says it's an incarnation of the Bloodline's demise. Roman said the Bloodline story is going to
I'm
last.
not sure that's incarnation. I think he's
What is
trying
that?
insinuation.
Insinuation. Right? You misspelled it there, Mikey, but it's all right. But you're right. It is insinuation. But I still don't think it's even that, though, because it still doesn't make sense to me. What's that got to do with the draft?
Well, I mean,
like, really?
all I can do is try to make sense of it. I can't be more convincing. Like when I tried to make what Brock's story would be that he hasn't said yet. It's not like I can't make it good. I can just try to do the best I can to put a wrestling story and put some sort of tactical spin on it. But like I said, I think it's because Roman, as the champion, had some stroke and said, the bloodline can be drafted together, but the bloodline bub is only me, Paul, and Solo.
All right, so I'm assuming now the Usos will get drafted to Raw, right? Obviously, is that what's going to happen?
I'd assume so, but I don't know. We'll see.
If that doesn't happen, then that was all for nothing. Like, really?
Well, no. I mean, I think it'd be perfectly fine if they get drafted to SmackDown, because then the story all continues together.
Exactly. Exactamundo. That's what I'm saying.
I think it makes more sense for them to be drafted to SmackDown, because
me too.
The bloodline splitting, but they're drafted to SmackDown. Like, yes, we're not split, and because the cliffhanger of SmackDown was all night. Paul was saying Solo, tonight is your night. The Usos hear him saying your night, thinking they're going to take the titles back, but he's talking to Solo like, obviously you're going to execute some motherfucker. You're going to, but that got short circuited due to Riddle. So so actually I think the story makes more sense for them to be drafted to SmackDown. So they think they're still with the bloodline, but it's only a matter of time before Roman picks the time to have Solo and whomever kill them again.
So can we call the Usos at this point Dumb and Dumber?
We can.
Because they're seriously very gullible and stupid by the way they're portrayed.
Maybe they just love their family. You ever think about that, Jimmy? No, you didn't.
Maybe they do. Maybe it's unconditional love, as it should be, right?
Right, maybe they think that their brother loves them.
Well, you'd think, right? I mean, he's from Las Vegas, though. He's not like them. He's not from San Francisco, even though he is.
Where do the Usos live? They don't live in San Francisco.
I'm not sure where they
Doesn't one of them live in Florida?
Well, I assume every wrestler practically lives in Florida at this point.
No,
in Tampa, isn't that where they...
One lives in Las Vegas.
Who?
No, I live in Arizona. They live all over the place. Bailey lives in San Jose, I think.
Well, she's from San Jose, though, so...
Yeah, but, I mean, lots of people are from places, but they don't live there any longer.
I can't see why you'd want to move out of California, though. I mean, Florida makes sense just to stay close to, like, the
wildfires,
PE.
Earthquakes, hurricanes.
Oh, well, that's true. It's actually pretty bad for earthquakes and fires, but
lots of people.
Yeah, it's not New York City, though.
Well, it depends where you are. I mean, there might be more people in less space in Manhattan, but the traffic in Los Angeles is second to none in the US. It would be. But San Jose is not it's north. It's like sort of north central. It's sort of like closer to San Francisco than LA. Anyway, unimportant. So what else? What happened next on Raw? Did they do the second pick, or did they go to
and there was Cody going to Raw, like you said before, and then they continued on. Actually, wasn't it? They pretty much did Bianca Belair going to SmackDown, and then Becky Lynch going to Raw.
Okay, so this is where the head scratching began. All right,
and that was round 1, by the way.
Right. No. Well, it was round 2, but it was drafts.
It was still part of round 1 until now. Round 2 starts with round Bianca. 2 is Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. We'll get to that.
Okay. Anyway, so Bianca gets drafted to SmackDown, and they cut to her in Belfast in her hotel room with a pre-recorded promo where she's so proud to be your SmackDown Women's Champion, and she's the Raw Women's Champion. So either she's assuming she gets to take the belt with her and it's just going to automatically become the SmackDown title. Mind you, Rhea Ripley was not eligible to be drafted tonight, so she's still the SmackDown Women's Champion. So this was a little bit weird. So either they spoiled something, or Bianca was confused, or they told her to cut a happy promo, but they just aired it at the wrong time. I don't know, but this was weird. And then Becky Lynch being picked to Raw. I mean, I know Becky Lynch like 3 years ago when she first came back, big star. She's still a pretty big star, but she wouldn't be my first female. I mean, like it would. I know she wasn't eligible, but to not pick Rhea doesn't make a lot of sense. To not pick Charlotte, I don't know. Anyway, that's why I don't think. That's another reason why I don't think they're in the doghouse. Becky was picked 3rd overall. Come on, that's not doghouse material.
That's pretty true. I mean, yeah, you're right. But again, it made no sense. Like
not to me, but I guess if they think she really is the man, Okay. So these, listen, they pick a top woman, you pick a top woman. Fine. I probably still would have gone with Lashley or Drew or Brock Lesnar or something like that.
Yeah.
But in the interest of equality, fine. But this round was head scratching for me.
Yeah, see, and another thing that was silly, just because, one brand drafted a female, doesn't mean the other brand has to go female as well. But what am I talking about? This is WWE. This is what they do. But it is what it is.
But they didn't draft the tag team after one team drafted the tag team, did they?
No. Yes, they did actually, sort of. If you want to call it that. One was a faction, one was a tag team.
Right, but really they were drafting one person who comes with three pieces of luggage.
And funny, for a moment I thought, and I know what you're referring to is in the Imperium, right? But, they first said Ludwig Kaiser, and I thought, nah, are you kidding me? And then they said the rest. I'm like, oh.
No, I made a mistake. I was actually talking about a different faction. I actually like Imperium. I like that.
Well, yeah. Round 2 was Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins going to SmackDown, and then Raw picked Imperium. Why would you pick Montez Ford? Yeah.
Including the Intercontinental Championship. So the Intercontinental Champion moving from SmackDown to Raw. Was Austin Theory not eligible to be drafted this night? Because him not being the next pick by SmackDown to get a secondary title would have been...
Makes no sense.
Would have been ridiculous if he was eligible.
Right. You would have gone for him, right? If you went with... that's what I mean. They should have just reset. They should have just done a hard reset in some ways where no one was champion. Like, it would have been better off in many ways when you think about it.
You end championships just because of a rando draft that is going to start falling apart.
But how do you make this look sort of... like, for example, now Raw's got the Intercontinental Championship. So, by default, I'm assuming that now Theory, by default, is going to be on SmackDown because he's the United States champion.
Unless they're total fucking idiots at SmackDown and they work that into the story, the Raw drafts Theory, and then now they have three champions on their belt. Mind you, they might do that and make us think that and be outraged about that. And then once they crown the Raw champion at the Night of Champions, the same, the next day there's a trade for Theory to SmackDown or something like that.
They have done that before in the past, actually. If you remember, do you remember when there was both world titles were on Raw for quite a while?
Yeah.
At one point, I think there was a stage where the Intercontinental Championship and the US Championship were on the same brand as well for a bit.
And I'm actually okay with all of that if this is what they're planning and they're planning to do something fun with it, or they're going to try to at least do something fun with it, like make trades that make sense or try to do something that's blockbuster. I just have no faith in that. But
neither do I. Just feels, like I said, a mess. I bet you those ones that weren't able to be picked is because they're champions. So they pick one line of champions, and then the other champions are in limbo.
Okay. Right, and the tag team championships, none of those four were eligible. So yeah, it didn't. It was, listen, it was weird. I've been saying that a lot lately about wrestling. The wrestling has been weird, and wrestling's always been a little bit weird, but it's getting weirder. So yeah, but didn't LA Knight face Pete Dunne?
Yes, and as a matter of fact, to my surprise, I don't know why it surprised me, but he won, and I was happy about that. As a matter of fact,
more or less cleanly,
and I went for a I kid you not, I went for a piss, dude. I come back, and then I'm hearing LA Knight's music play. I'm like, oh, what? He won.
And the crowd
right? So I didn't actually
loves him.
Man, again, he got a pop.
He gets a pop coming in. He gets a pop coming out.
What is WWE waiting for, man?
Yeah, that's when you know it's not just the music and it's not just a chant. By the way, because I heard you guys dragging me down over that comment, and I know that you only took it into context, and that's fun. But when you get them when they come in and when you get them when they leave, they're still popping. That's when you know it's not just a chant. That's when you know something.
I agree with you. I heard the pop, man. I'm an LA Knight guy too, man. As a matter of fact, so
Well, I'm just saying that when Jungle Boy comes in, people will pop to Baltimore or Tarzan Boy, but when he leaves the ring, crickets.
does anyone really give a shit about Jungle Boy? Let's be honest. I mean,
I assume Anna Jay does, who, by the way, was
Oh.
only identified as Anna Jay, not Anna JAS. All
also
throughout the match.
randomly, she's not part of the Jazz anymore.
And apparently Ty Conti is sort of facey now. I don't
She
know. We'll save this for Uncaged, assuming I'm on it.
Need to make not Money in the Bank winner and make him like Ziggler cashing in. Are you talking
I'm
about back on
100%
Raw when?
100% down with that.
Yeah, but don't make him into Ziggler in the long run.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying.
Well, I think you just meant Ziggler cashing in. But,
I know, I get it. That was awesome. When,
But
it
there were
was
plenty of
against
people who
Alberto Del
cashed in.
Rio, I think too.
Edge cashed
Right.
in, Seth cashed in, lots of people cashed in. So even the Miz cashed in. So we didn't need the specifics of Dolph Ziggler there. Who, by the way, has been drafted over the weekend as a free agent. There's 4 people that were drafted today on Saturday to be free agents that can float to both brands. So they're not free. They can't go to Forbidden Door 2, but they can go to Raw, SmackDown. And those include the giant Omos. Okay, I can get it. You want an attraction. You want to spread them around. And then Von Wagner. And then it gets worse, folks. Dolph Ziggler and Mustafa Ali.
And Omos.
Well, I start with Omos.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that part.
listen
you
to
must
me.
have said it right.
I
I have been listening to you. I just didn't catch the Omos bit, but yeah.
Okay.
See, are you there? Oh, I thought you froze there for a moment.
No,
Jeez.
I just don't know if there's any point in me speaking.
Oh, come on, Jeff. Jesus. Anyway, I don't understand the free agent bullshit. What's it for? I have no idea. It just makes them look weak.
It's stupid. It's dumb. I mean, it's too early for this bullshit. It's the draft isn't even 12 hours old, and it's like bullshit.
And on top of that, shit doesn't go into effect until after Backlash, right? So why not just wait till after Backlash to do this?
Right. When you're talking about people who are undrafted free agents, let the you know, and make it that they have to work their way onto a brand or something. I don't know. This floater thing is dumb. But
That's why I'm not sure about this brand split, man. I don't know, Jeff. It just
listen. I don't want to sound too Pollyannish or optimistic. I'm just saying the draft isn't even over yet. Yet there's plenty of reasons to be critical and skeptical and dubious, and I want the audience to know that. But there is still the rest of today. There's tomorrow, and there's Monday night, and whatever happens between now and Backlash. You know, and I would even say because of trades, there have been times when they had GMs and actually did trades and things like that.
yeah, but that's the thing. We don't even have GMs.
I know, but they can create that because they have too many people on the roster, and I don't know, and they don't need all of these wrestlers, and so, one of them is one of your favorites, who is getting a match this weekend that she's obviously going to lose, but can't really do much of anything else, and she could be a GM,
Oh, God,
Sonya
man,
Deville looks much better as the sort of the heel assistant GM, than she is in the ring, and she's okay in the ring. But nobody ever looks at her and says star. She's like the Viking Raiders of women's wrestling. She's lost too many matches.
I agree, but you know what? Let's get back to SmackDown though, because we do have another matchup after the LA Knight match, after defeating Butch. We do have the Street Profits defeating Braun Strowman and Ricochet, and LWO's Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro in, I guess, the match of the night for action, I guess.
Not for me.
But yeah, it wasn't my match of the night either. But
I thought that was the third best match, and there were only 4 matches. I mean, there were some high spots in it, but there were some really low spots. I mean, there were some botched moves, there were some missed moves, and not just Braun stumbling around like he was clumsy, because he is. But I mean,
yeah,
there were some
you hear
moves.
about that? Apparently, he's concussed.
No, he was concussed. He's cleared now. That was
Okay.
a couple of weeks ago when Alvarez
All right.
was making fun of him. But yeah, there's They did make fun of when he threw Ricochet into thin air. They were going to do the move again, and then Ricochet sort of crossed himself. He genuflected. But there were most moves. Like, I don't know if it was Joaquin or Cruz del Toro, but he missed some moves. Ricochet missed some moves. It was a little bit discombobulated, but in the end, the people who were drafted to SmackDown won the match tonight. And there were a couple times where the guys from the LWO reminded the world that, yes, we can balance on the top rope and we can use it as a springboard too. It's not just Jungle Boy, Phoenix, and Commander.
Or Commander, right. Well, we move on, though, because we're still in round 2.
We should point out that the LWO continue their streak of not winning a match.
I've said it all along, man. I said they're going to be losers.
They lost
still
the
losers.
They lose as heels.
I think it was Chris and John, actually, they were disagreeing with us about that. They were saying they're going to be pushed as stars and blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm still waiting, guys.
You know what I can't wait for? I want Elektra Lopez to come up and attack Zelina Vega, and I want Santos to betray the other two guys and form a counter and reform Legado del Fantasma, but with Garza and Carrillo.
That would be cool. I'll be down with that, actually. Why not?
I'm just not sure who joins Vega and the other two midgets, so it's, you know.
But see, I like Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro. I think them two with Santos are a great threesome. For real. Like, I'm being
so
serious.
Small.
But they're tiny. They're
so
really
small.
tiny.
They're just so tiny. I mean, it's like
tiny teams.
It's like the Singh brothers again.
I hate those guys, man. Why anyone would put these... It's not just because they're Indians, right? It's just, look at them. They come to the ring like this, all happy all the fucking time until they get a boot to the face.
Jimmy's doing jazz hands, for those of you who aren't watching.
Yeah, jazz hands. Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. You know what I mean?
He's going full Bollywood. He's got a whole dance. Oh my God, there's 28 people doing the same move as him behind him. It's amazing.
Yeah, and see, what Medium 5 says... Oh, God. Is exactly what I was thinking. He goes, when Wild was DJZ, it worked. They had a good X division. WWE don't have shit for smaller people. That's half true. I hated him as DJZ in TNA, though.
Yeah, I hated him as DJZ, too. But I didn't know what Daft Punk was, so now I sort of get it. But they had something. They had a cruiserweight title that, for whatever reason, they decided to get rid of. I mean, they could have done something, had something for all of the smaller wrestlers to do, and did an X division just with the cruiserweight title. And you didn't need to put it just on NXT. It made no sense. They were all cruiserweights anyway. Keep it on the main. It's like every decision Vince made during that time didn't make. Like he got rid of the Hardcore Championship and the cruiserweight title, but he brought the 24/7 title, which was treated idiotically. I don't know, but the cruiserweight belt, why not bring it back? Get a ton of cruiserweights. Let them do something.
But at this point, it'll look bad if they do bring it back just out of the blue. What are they going to do? Just take it out of the bin?
They'll look make a new one. I mean, don't call it a cruiserweight. Call it a light heavyweight.
Or a Super Juniors, Juniors title or something, right?
Middleweight. I don't know. Whatever.
Actually, they hate references to juniors, so that won't happen. As a matter of fact. Right. So, Vince is like, junior sounds like kids.
It does sound like kids.
It does, right.
It does sound like kids.
No, you're right. It's true. Anyway, let's go back to Z Draft, though, because still staying in round 2, next, we get for SmackDown go for Edge, while Raw go for Riddle.
Edge, fine. I mean, he wouldn't have been my pick, but he's a star. Put him on SmackDown. He used to be sort of the franchise of SmackDown. It's fine. You want a big name. You want someone that you can always put into the main event picture. He can win. He can lose. Whatever. It's fine. Edge is great. Matt Riddle as the number 4 pick all overall. What the fuck?
Yeah, and to think that Lashley goes number 5, bro.
And it's so weird also because Riddle's like in this Bloodline story, but the Bloodline's on SmackDown now, so what's the point?
That's what I'm saying. What's the point for most of this shit?
At least make us wait.
It's weird. I'm not going to lie. But anyway, that's the next round of picks, and that means we go to a next matchup because next we get Zelina Vega defeating Sonya Deville. Jesus. As Vega repelled the sneak attack by Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
Now, I've been saying this. We were arguing about this, and I'm going to say this. Do you have a problem with what the commentator said about Zelina Vega, about her chances in defeating Rhea Ripley at Backlash? Because I don't.
I'm not sure that it would have been the way that I would have gone, but I mean, listen, Zelina Vega hasn't won a match on TV in weeks and weeks, possibly months and months. So this is the only story that you could go with, the David versus Goliath, and look at Rey Mysterio Jr., her faction made. So this is all they had.
But Rey can go. That's the difference.
I understand that, but it can't be the difference. The commentary can't say. But actually, I mean, what the fuck's his name? The British guy, Wade Barrett. Yeah, he came as close as you can say. He can say Rey is the exception to every rule. That's why he's so remarkable. There's only one Rey Mysterio Jr. That's why everyone points to Rey Mysterio Jr. But he's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Not exactly. I mean, you have Daniel Bryan, you have Finn Balor, you some others.
I know, but they're not looked at. They're not portrayed as like the small cruiserweight guy. Even though they're small,
but they are. But
right.
But I mean, you can't say, but Zelina sucks at wrestling. I mean, everybody is a WWE superstar.
Right, but realistically, she just has no chance. And that's all they were saying. I mean, can you imagine if she beat Rhea Ripley? What a joke. It won't happen.
I can
but just
imagine if she beat Rhea Ripley. But I mean, in Zelina's defense, I would like to point out one thing: boobs.
Definitely boobs. But as far as her going in between those ropes,
and that crown was pretty cool. I think her wig was falling off though?
She had a wig on.
I think she always has a wig on. You think she normally has 4 colors worth of hair?
No, you're probably right. I mean, they love extensions all the time. That's for sure. I know Sasha Banks.
Pretty sure that was a
wig. Are you cool with wigs?
On wrestlers? Sure.
No, on your woman, say for example.
Depends.
Just say she decided. No, but just say Lassa Cardia was going through different colored wigs every day.
She would never.
But that's exactly right. She would never, right? Neither would mine.
But it's not her thing. If it was someone that it was their thing, I don't think that I would care about it. I mean, I went out for a few months with a woman from Nigeria, and she wore different wigs all the time, and that was her
black
thing.
women love doing that. I don't know why, but that seems to be a thing with black women. Not sure why, but whatever.
She didn't want to grow her hair out. She left her natural hair short. I guess it's easier to maintain. And, she instead of spending money on hair care products, she spent her money on wigs. But, that was her thing. I don't know. I don't know. It could be fun for role playing, I suppose. But no, Viv would never do that. Her hair is
you start pulling on the hair and it comes right off.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Technology has come a long way, but yeah.
I'm not sure. Yes, but media says, yes, Jimmy, she looks like she has no chance, but announcers can't shit on it.
Right, the announcers
Why
can't
not?
Because they can't. They're trying to sell
It's not the
match.
main event, but this is not the sell. That's what I was trying to say. Like,
you have to go into every title match thinking that there's at least a chance the title is going to change hands.
You look at Rhea, you look at Zelina Vega, you look at their in-ring abilities.
I look at the same thing as Darby Allin and Miro. I feel the same way with men's wrestling.
But Darby at least
I don't want to hear people telling me that Finn Balor should beat Brock Lesnar. No, he shouldn't. But the entire wrestling world's telling me, sure, that's believable. So don't tell me that Zelina can't be Rhea if you think
whoever thinks that was believable is a fucking idiot.
Okay, everybody they drew the line at Riho because she's ridiculously small. But I mean,
that's another. But see, they've built her though. She's built like she can beat anyone. There's the difference. But Zelina has never been built to beat anybody.
It's always looked ridiculous. It
does.
That's why people say Joshi wrestling is wrestling cosplay.
Right. And I know Media Info is saying, Jimmy, they can't shit on it because it's a Puerto Rican woman in Puerto Rico. So what?
her
WWE's
grandmother came from Puerto Rico. Yes, she's Puerto Rican, but it's not like
yeah, well, third generation American.
Right. It's you know, listen, it's fine. She's Puerto Rican. That's part of the story. It's fine. It's all fine.
Whatever, man. Whatever.
In her defense, boobs.
Yeah, well, that's the only thing. Other than that, I don't have a problem with what Cole and Barrett said. I really don't, because
they did the best they could with the work. Now, had WWE been smart over the last eight weeks, they would have had Zelina Vega win 5 matches on TV.
That's it. That's all they could. They should have done that.
Yeah,
they should have done that. Then maybe I would say I would disagree with it. The fact that they haven't, and she's always been billed as a loser, I've got a problem with them actually saying that she's got a chance.
And you know what? If they don't want to waste time on TV with it, have her do it on main event and beat Emma on main event and Tegan Knox. But have them whenever she comes off with Legado del Fantasma or LWO when it's transition, they should say, by the way, Zelina Vega on main event just scored her 3rd win in 3 weeks. Now she's beaten Emma, Tegan Knox, and Candice LeRae. I mean, she's quietly making a name for herself in the women's division. Then have
give
her
a meaningful fucking win, and then make me believe, sell me why she's got a chance. They haven't sold me.
There was a match that was on the dark part of SmackDown that they couldn't put on TV. It was Lacey Evans versus someone, because you know how we talked about Lacey Evans, her boobs keep falling out of her top.
Don't tell me that happened again.
Her top fell off. Her top unsnapped.
What? Totally off?
Yeah. That's why I heard anyway. I haven't seen it, but that's what I said. That she had a wardrobe malfunction, and so I mean, I'm sure it'll make its way around Twitter eventually.
Jeez, what's going on with her, actually, man? Is she still in the doghouse, you think?
No, she's one of the people who was drafted today, Saturday. I can't remember. I think she's one of the 3 on SmackDown, as opposed to one of the 7 who was drafted to Raw, and the 4 free agents as of the last time I checked. I mean, I haven't been on the Twitterverse since before we started.
Does this get announced on WWE's Twitter account, by the way?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I should load that up too. As a matter of fact,
just go to Fightful or something. I mean, I'm sure that they have that or whatever it is, but we should go. So anyway, yeah, this was a nothing match. Zelina Vega looked terrible. She did, basically she's different versions of something that might be a Hurricane Rana or like the Stone Dog Millionaire DDT that Orange Cassidy does. She basically beat Sonya Deville in a schoolgirl, and then basically Rhea Ripley came in, hit her from behind, beat up Sonya Deville, also was threatening to beat up Chelsea Green, who talked her way out of it, and then Zelina Vega hit I think a Hurricane Rana actually.
That's the only move she knows how to do, man.
Pretty much, yeah. That's why I keep saying it, on Rhea Ripley. And then she scooted out of the match, made sure her wig stayed on, made sure her boob stayed in her top, ran to the back while Rhea Ripley looked mad. And then we later on saw Santos Escobar congratulating her, and then Rey Mysterio Jr. with a Louis Vuitton jean jacket. He's such a prima donna. Who wears Louis Vuitton jean jackets? I mean, how badly do you want to say to the world, I'm rich and spend money on stupid shit, than wearing a Louis Vuitton jean jacket? I mean, it's offensive. But he basically gave the Thea as long as you wrestle with your head, but more importantly, wrestle with your heart, then you've got a chance.
Yeah, that was cringe as well, just quietly, man. I was just like, oh, man, what does that even mean? Listen to your heart.
And face Santos Escobar sucks. I really want Elektra Lopez to come back and tell him, you left me behind, and all you've done since is lose. Get out of Rey Mysterio's shadow. I'm glad that you admire him. The whole thing with the mask. Your whole thing was you didn't wrestle with a mask. You were the modern Lucha Libre. He's the past. Come with me, and then have him go over.
WWE, what are you doing? Stop being AEW right now, man, please.
All right, well, tell me what's next, and I'll talk it while you're looking, because I think that we...
Oh, no, I've already looked. We'll get to that at the end, because essentially that'll be the end, those extra draft picks. Right. But next, we have... Let's see. Did I mention... Yeah, I did mention that. Let's go back to the draft, because it is round 3 now, officially, as we get Bobby Lashley going to SmackDown next, and Raw pick Drew McIntyre. I'm not happy about that. Good picks, but Bobby should be higher, man. He should be above Riddle. That's for sure.
Of course, you should be above Riddle. And actually, I would have liked Bobby to be on Raw because I want Bobby to be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and now he's stuck there behind Roman.
He's there to be fed for Roman, right? Exactly.
Right. Listen, if it's a legitimate feud, that's fine. And I don't think I would mind seeing Bobby and Solo go at it. So I think
that'd be cool, man.
I mean, the old Haas against the young Haas.
Except Lashley's just so much bigger than Solo. Solo is like medium size, but he's not that big.
No, but Lashley versus Umaga, then and now, come on.
True, that's a good actual little storyline. Actually, when you put it like that.
Yeah, he's
because
like,
they used to,
you go, I beat you once before, except it was your uncle.
Yeah,
I beat your uncle Eddie.
Ooh, Eddie Fatu. Damn, that's cold. But is WWE smart enough to actually?
Oh, by the way,
tell that
story.
was
remember months ago when Punk said, "You're not even in the top 3 Eddies that I faced in the ring," and we're like, Eddie Edwards. It was Eddie Fatu.
Eddie Fatu, exactly. Because they were close.
I was like, Eddie Edwards? I'm like, Eddie Guerrero, obviously.
What did I say? I remember saying it wasn't Eddie Edwards. He wouldn't have been talking about him. But I think I probably would have said Eddie Guerrero. Didn't think of Eddie Fatu as in Umaga.
Eddie Guerrero was obviously number 1, and I can't remember who number 2 was. But like Eddie Edwards was the only third one I could think of. I can't think of the second one now, but it was Eddie Fatu.
Oh man, that's funny.
Edwards Silverhands.
Yeah, could have been. But staying with round 3, because next SmackDown pick AJ Styles, Michin, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson, essentially the OC.
That's what I meant. Where they drafted one guy and three pieces of luggage.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah, I know, but and Raw picked the Miz. I mean,
okay. Here. I'm good. The only thing I can tell you about the Miz is that Raw's a 3-hour show. And they put Miz TV on
good filler.
every week
filler.
for 15 to 20 minutes segment. That is the sole reason for this.
He's just filler, baby.
Right. But otherwise, the OC and Michin wouldn't have been drafted at all. So whatever, it's fine. AJ came in. The Vikings came in, and they're with Valhalla. She took off her headdress, so you knew that there was going to be some action. And AJ goes, "Oh, I see. It's 4 against 3. You're smarter than you look," which was actually pretty funny. It was like a Jerry Lawler joke. And AJ, since he's not fully recovered, said, "I'll take care of this. I'll just scooch over here to the ring and sit on the turnbuckle." And he perches himself on the turnbuckle and goes, "OC, handle your business." And the OC makes short work of the Vikings. They beat them up, and they do whatever their version of the 1D or whatever their finisher is on. I think it was Ivar. No, it was who's Sarah Rowe's husband? What's his name? Eric.
Yes, right. Eric Rowan.
Right.
Eric Rowan. No, sorry, not Eric Rowan.
Not Eric Rowan, right. Just Eric. Eric Rowe.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah.
So
I was thinking of the big redhead guy for some reason with the name. But yeah.
Right. So the OC and Michin finally got a reaction from the crowd. No, it was totally for AJ Styles. They don't care about you 3.
They don't want none. Clearly they don't want any of Gallows and Anderson. But apparently Chris is a huge fan of theirs.
Yeah, that took me by surprise too.
Me too. I could have sworn he used to say bad shit about him, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm a fan of theirs. I've always said I'm a fan of theirs.
You are, yeah.
I've always said that.
You've been. I mean, I'm not saying he hasn't. I just don't remember it.
Neither do I. But I've always said also that they are a cheap version. They're a Wish version of the Outsiders.
Oh yeah.
I mean that's what it is.
No, they're not even Wish. They're like, what did I say that one time? They're like I kind of sort of want this.com.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm just being honest, you know what I mean? And they're goofy. They're overly goofy at times.
If you throw in Michin for free, I sort of want.
She doesn't suit this crew, dude.
What does she suit?
Yeah, why do they even bring her back at this point? They should just,
I don't
release her and be done with her now. That's it.
I don't know about any of this, but they're anyway. AJ and crew are on SmackDown, right? So now we have another veteran. So you have another guy that like Edge, that is versatile. You can have 6-mans. You can put him. He can be a face. He can be a heel. He can be someone that Roman has to overcome. With or without Solo's help. Maybe they regret not having the Usos around because the OC and they're outnumbered for a change. Who knows? Whatever. But okay. So AJ and the OC, good pick for SmackDown. Edge is fine. It's starting to look a little like the old show. But
it is. We've got the face that runs the place again.
Yeah. Even Lashley's there. Not that the Miz is so young either, but
I know it feels like SmackDown circa 2016 now.
A little bit, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But anyway, so after round 3, we've got another matchup, and it's the main event, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry. It was AJ Styles and the OC brawled with the Viking Raiders, as we're talking about. Big fuck. But the main event...
Wasn't there another draft pick?
Yeah, there is. There is. There's a few more, as a matter of fact. Where was I? I was up to round 3, so round 4 after that is the last sort of batch.
Thankfully.
So round 4 is the last batch. After the main event, I'll get to that. So the main event was Owens and Zayn defeating the Usos in a WrestleMania title rematch and retain their WWE World Tag Team Undisputed Championships. Couldn't care less about this match.
See, I thought this was a very good match, though way too many super kicks.
Way too many super kicks. And I've seen this already.
Yeah, it was a little bit different, mostly the super kicks. But so the story here was midway through, Paul looks to Solo and says, "Now it's your night. I just got the call." And so Solo saunters off to the ring. So we don't know, we think we know what Solo is going to do. He's going to clobber the Usos because they lost, and he's going to kill them with spikes. He's going to commit was that fratricide when you kill your brothers?
Something like that.
He's going to do double fratricide. But instead, he's ambushed by Riddle, who now is on Raw, but I guess still thinks he's part of this. And Riddle fights him out of it. But by the end of the show, somehow we don't see how, but Solo got away from Riddle, and he's just staring at the Usos, who they're so upset that they lost. They can't believe they lost again. So we don't know what Solo was going to do. Was he gonna beat up Sammy and Kevin, or was he gonna do what we thought, to betray his brothers because they're failures? And that's sort of a cliffhanger, and so that's why I think it makes sense that the Usos get drafted to SmackDown. But that's the cliffhanger for Raw. For SmackDown, which I thought this was well done. If this story is going to continue and you want to keep it going, fine.
I'm getting bored, dude.
Yeah, but we're done hearing the Sammy Kevin stuff. So I think I think that was the thing that was getting. Who knows? Well, let's find out what happens if Jonah and Zion Quinn get drafted to SmackDown. We got some more Samoans for Roman.
What do we call it? Just the Samoan line after that?
Whatever. They're all related, right?
Well, technically, not really, but
You don't know.
Oh, maybe they are. I mean, Samoa only I think Samoa only has like.
Listen. Ask Chris. He'll tell you that there's mitochondrial Eve somewhere there.
We're brothers,
in
Jeff.
Africa.
We're all African.
Related somewhere.
Well, apparently, the first human being did come from Africa, supposedly. So if that's the case, I mean,
whoa. We know that the gods made the first humans from dirt or clay.
Oh, that's right. My bad. I don't believe in the Big Bang Theory anyway. Just quietly.
Nor should you. You believe in the Word. It's much different.
True. Well, anyway, there's
the difference in Big Bang Theory and the Word is what came before that.
Right. There's just so much that's not answered, and sometimes I think humans think we know it all, but we really don't.
We know nothing. We know jack and shit. But we always will. That's fine. And that's why people hope for aliens, because they think they're going to tell us. They're going to say, we only know like 1,000 years more than you do.
I do think there has to be a bigger power than us, man, that's created us.
There's
somehow.
got to be a morning after. Jimmy, sing us some gospel. Sing us some Greek gospel. Give us some Greek.
Don't make me do that, because my grandfather used to do that actually at churches, believe it or not.
Yeah, there's definitely something more than us. We all know what it is. The story is basically the same everywhere, and we know that it's aliens that came. And they hybrids, and the hybrids didn't always work out so well.
Do you believe in that hybrid thing?
Or fires, or giant
floods.
lions. Yeah.
Do you believe in the hybrids?
Of course.
Interesting. I wonder. Imagine.
You can't.
But imagine
you can't have every story being the same all around the world.
Actually, I can tell you a true story, and this was weird, dude. Have you ever heard about the flash phenomenon? Where it's just a random flash, like a lightning or whatever. Just a flash. Like one day I was chilling with, funny enough, a Samoan friend of mine and D, and we were at a park in a local area, but it was a memorial park for for fallen soldiers, right? And we were just chilling. It was hot, and no shit, there was a big flash out of the blue, man.
Right.
That was just a bit further down. I'm like, what the hell was that? Like, think of it like a power generator just going bang. I don't know what it was. It made no sound, but everyone stopped doing what they were doing. Everyone was just like, what the hell? Then out of nowhere, this blonde dude, blonde hair, like long blonde hair.
Valiant Thor.
I'm telling you, this is a legitly true story, man. I'm doing my cross. I kid you not, right?
Legolas came out of Valiant
Man,
Thor.
no, but no, get this. So the flash happens, and then out of nowhere, this blonde-haired white guy wearing all black just starts walking towards us. And
His legs weren't moving.
No. He seemed like a person, right? But my Samoan friend goes, "Hey, dude, are you all right? You cool?" He didn't respond. He just kept walking, right?
He spoke in Inoki and in Jalak language.
Dude, it was like he was. It was like it was telepathic, dude. I kid you not, man. But he kept walking for some reason, and my friend's like,
I am fine.
"What the hell?
I'm not
Who is
the one
this
you're
guy?"
looking for. There's nothing
Dude,
to here.
There was like a little like man-made mountain sort of rocks, and then like you climb up, and then there's a car park at the very top.
Or was it the
right?
burial mound for a holy man?
I don't know what the hell it was. It was kind of weird. But anyway, this guy walks up the top there, right? And then we go after him. And I kid you not, he disappeared. He was nowhere to be found. He was just gone. And we're like, what the where did this guy go? He couldn't have gone far, man. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was kind of weird. But
he just got right back onto what's up, cunt? He went back onto the buy. He just got back onto the Bifrost and went somewhere else.
Hey, he looked like one of those Nordic aliens. But anyway, what up, Piers? Good morning.
Right. Well,
cunt.
There you go. Well, that Elric from Babylonian, hero or whatever.
Blonde, right. Full blonde.
Right. Well, maybe he took a wrong turn on his way to Ultima Thule.
Maybe.
Or Hyperborea.
You were on the show last night? What show was that, Pearson? Go and check out his show, by the way. Shooting the Shit. You won't be disappointed. He literally talks to the who's who of pro wrestling, everyone MMA. In the independent MMA, boxing, you name it.
Homeboy,
I mean, even Billy Dibb. That was a great interview, by the way, Pierce. Go check his shit out.
Lots of young women who wear, wrestling attire.
Yeah, absolutely. Shooting the Shit with Piers Austin. You won't be disappointed, man. And what show were you on, Pierce, man? Let us know, bro. You're due to be on our show.
I know, that was a cliffhanger right there. I was on the show. Psych!
I know. What show was that?
Was it the Conan O'Brien show? I mean,
hey, could have been.
What show were you on? Was it
actually,
Ricky Gervais?
I'm looking forward to one of the shows that's coming up with him.
Was it Piers Morgan on Piers Austin?
Wait. Are you being serious, or is this kayfabe now, Piers?
He was on a wrestling show. No, I think
he was being serious. No, his character in a wrestling show is actually he's pretty cool, man.
Well, listen.
He's like a manager. He's kind of doing the Paul Heyman, Jim Cornette sort of thing. He's actually pulling it off pretty good.
He's probably good at it.
It was a wrestling show, FWA. Hey.
Fuck Wilds Associates.
No, I'm joking. Okay, cool. So it's kayfabe.
So it's not Fuck Wilds Associates?
What does FWA stand for? I don't think I've ever heard of FWA. Forever Wrestling Association?
Fat Wrestlers Australia.
Fat Wrestlers. Fat Wrestlers Australia. That's a good one.
All right, so folks, the last part of the draft, we had. By the way, I don't want to talk about everyone who made the picks, but Teddy Long, who was the GM forever, did a pick for I think SmackDown instead of Raw, even though he was the Raw GM forever, and he didn't pick a tag team.
Wait, was he the Raw? He was a SmackDown general manager.
Then he picked for Raw, but he didn't pick a tag team.
Okay, right, and he didn't say Valhalla, Hala, Hala, which is disappointing.
No, he just did the little dance, and he looked really old. And at that same second, Wade Barrett goes, "Teddy Long hasn't aged a day." I'm like, "Yeah, he has. At least his leg and hips have." Okay, so Raw drafted the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions of Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. We talked about that earlier in the night. they looked legitimately surprised and happy about it. And the whole NXT faces and heels, they were all in basically, I guess, black warm-up suits matching, and they were all clapping. And then with the next pick, which was the Road Dogg, by the way, it was Shawn Michaels who made that pick, pretending it hurt him. And then the Road Dogg, Jesse James picked. He goes, well, if you didn't like that one, Shawn, I think you're going to lose your smile a second time. And he picked.
Man, that joke is so funny still, right? I mean.
Oh, and before Abaddon and Isla Fire, they had an interview with Mackenzie Mitchell. We talked about Mrs. Vic Joseph. And Kaden Carter and Katana Chance challenged them to a title match on Tuesday, which hopefully they won't win those titles back. I know that's sort of what you do, but I actually think it would be more interesting if they came with those NXT titles and actually challenged, Liv and Raquel right away. So let's see who's best. And they won those. And then because of that, they had to surrender the NXT titles and then go into a tournament. Then Road Dogg for Raw picked Indy Hartwell, the NXT current women's champion. Nobody came up to challenge her. They caught her in a candid where Grayson Waller hugged her. And, if they knew that was going to happen, he would have never done that because he's supposed to be the
I
super
agree.
champion.
Yeah, for sure. Well, they're two Aussies, man. I mean,
I understand. And listen, everybody says everyone loves Indy. And listen, it's fine. As I said at the top of the show, she'll reunite with her kayfabe husband, Dexter Lumis, Index, and her former tag team partner, Candice LeRae, who has nothing else. So they now have two more women's tag teams in what is a both brand tag team title where they have absolutely no team. So they now have two more teams. So
which is a positive.
This is a positive. And again, they drafted the NXT people early because of logistics. They want to get them back to Orlando. They want to get them working on the show. They're still youngins. They took some of the probably the ones who are more ring savvy away. And so exactly what Pierre said.
That's true. I've heard a lot of stories about it too, man.
Like universally
very well liked. Right.
Which is probably why they let the camera be on Roxanne Perez smiling when Indy Hartwell won her title.
Everyone does love her. It's strange. Everyone loves her but the fans, it seems. So whatever.
She's not very good, but she's not very bad either. She's
not very bad. I think everyone overblows how bad apparently she is. She's not great. She's not good, but she ain't bad either. You know what I mean?
She's better than Zelina Vega. She's probably slightly worse than Tegan Knox, but she looks more believable than Tegan Knox. Anyway,
much more believable than Tegan Knox.
She's right there. She's right there in the middle with all the rest. I don't know what they're going to do with the NXT Women's title. I assume they're going to strip her of it, and then they're going to have a tournament because they need to do something to help their ratings.
And Peace says she does what she does well. You know what, man? I've said this before, and I'll say it again.
Fucking Aussies always sticking together.
No. I'm not trying to be biased, but during her, I'm betting. The truth be told, during her indie run in Australia, she was not that bad. She was a lot better than you think, Jeff. So I wasn't actually surprised when she did get signed by WWE because I felt like at the time she deserved to get signed by WWE. But whatever. I mean, each to their own. But why? What was the point of her winning the NXT Women's Championship just to go on the main roster?
Maybe recognition for a job well done, so at least you can say that you've done this. I don't know. I mean, you're the one that thinks the belts are important, so let's assume that
they are to me. But
let's Karen Wilkerson. I'm afraid of Karen Wilkerson. Let's assume that 70% of the wrestlers agree with you and not with me. And they do, and they think it does matter. So yeah, it was her participation going away present trophy.
Oh, look, he's in his house. It's Jinder Mahal. He says Indy is main roster ready because them NXT marks are dicks. I kind of agree.
I don't really understand the flow of the sentence there, but all right, whatever. I don't get those thoughts how they connect, but that's okay. I don't need to. So that was it. That was the end of the draft. There you go. And then we had the supplemental draft. We already talked about the free agents. So why don't you read out the who went to Raw and who went to SmackDown?
Okie dokie.
As we know it today, what is it? What, about 6 o'clock Saturday the 29th?
Well, this is the latest.
It's 6:27.
So Raw got quite a few actually here. We get the Viking Raiders in Eric and Ivar and Valhalla going to Raw. Dexter Loomis also going to Raw. Candice LeRae also going to Raw. No surprise there.
There we go.
Your boys and girl in Maximum Male Models in Marseille and Mansour.
But not Otis. I was wrong.
And not Otis and Maxine Dupree.
I'm what a missed opportunity there.
Yeah, strange. I don't know why they were teasing it. But anyway, they also go to Raw. Zoe Starks, as we already know, is gone to Raw. JD McDonough, don't know why, also on Raw. Apollo Crews, I still don't understand why, but he's also back on Raw. And Natalia is on Raw. Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green also on Raw.
Fine. I just hope Carmella comes back already, and then she tags with Chelsea Green, because that team makes sense. Her and Sonya Deville doesn't.
A lot of baggage here, though, man.
Apollo Crews wasn't doing anything in NXT, so I guess he can not do anything on the main roster. I don't know. I mean,
well,
whatever.
Speaking of doing nothing, though, Jeff, we have Hit Row going to SmackDown, and of course Lacey Evans, and that was it so far for SmackDown.
All right, listen. Aside from the wardrobe malfunctions, which I do support, I actually like Lacey Evans' character and her as a wrestler, and I like her being on SmackDown. I actually think her, with her natural heelishness and the sort of the way she portrays herself, so is a right wing nut. I think a feud between her and Bianca could actually rock.
Maybe, but she just said Jeff wearing the Smart Tech shirt from 40.
No, this
is
a Dunlop Bennett and Ludwig. This is the free shirt they gave me on Thursday for going to the Association Streets.
Jindo is fucking funny, man.
Where have you been, bro? Bennett and Ludwig clothes. It's. I mean,
I don't mind that shit. It's all right.
Yeah,
that's cool, man.
Do you mind if I unzip it and I have no shirt underneath? I'm like a player underneath. I've got all the chains. I got 3 giant crosses, each one bigger than the next.
Like, that's what you call, what we would say right here, like, is what you call a full-blown wog, man. That's the wog job right there. If you were to, undo
like Mr. T underneath.
No, like, for example, if you were Greek or Italian, it would definitely go with the look,
No, if I undo it, all the hair comes out.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. That's why it's funny, man. Hey,
Nick Tortelli.
That was a by God era back, very long time ago.
That's right.
But that's funny, though.
Paulie Walnut's chest over here.
Anyway, Jeff, is there anything else we need to talk about with this show now? Shit, we've nearly done 2 hours of talking draft.
No, if no more draft picks have been announced, then I can't believe we've managed to go an hour and 45 minutes on this show.
Well, we had to, in a sense, so you know what I mean, because I had a lot of gripes with this show, as you did as well. But like I said, you can check that out for $5 at channelattitude.com, where we talk even more in depth about certain things over there on the Smack Attack. But anyway, Jeff, tell them where they can find you, my friend.
On Twitter, you can find me at IcarusFellND. You can obviously find me on the PWC. Obviously, you can find me sometimes on Humming Media Group Channel Attitude. My wrestling podcast that doesn't involve any of this crew is Hammerlock Hangover, also on the PWC with Big Daddy Cool Steve Pena. And my non-wrestling podcasts are Garden of Doom and Garden Views. All sorts of esoteric stuff. I've got upcoming shows are going to include The Garden of Dude, which is about Dudism, which is a religion based on the purposeful fiction of the Big Lebowski. I interviewed someone today that found Atlantis, and so we're going to have another Atlantis show, which will spill into Tartaria, which dovetails on 2 prior shows I recently did on Tartaria and one on Atlantis. Got the show today on the Helix and Anomalies on the Moon, and Garden Views is more topical. This week I've got another Hollywood person on, and I'm interviewing someone who a law professor on space mining, which everyone knows is sort of my thing. My intellectual thing is space mining. Aside from that, I don't know. That seems like more than enough to me.
That was perfect. Well, anyway, if you want to follow me, you can on Twitter at DJ MassFX and also at the PWC Network.
Please, on the Homeboy 88 show. I was on the Homeboy 88 show now twice, so you check out those shows. He'll kill me if I forget to say it.
You shocked me there for a minute.
No, I don't want
Jesus
to talk
Christ.
to him. 1 minute. Oh, and become a Patreon of Wrestling Soup. Yes, I'm doing a Patreon show with Mish tomorrow, Wrestling Soup, about the Raka Khan lawsuit and some of the other lawsuits surrounding WWE. So that'll probably be only for their Patreons. I don't think it's going to be public. So give them $5 too.
Yeah, and speaking of $5, did I mention like and subscribe at channelattitude.com where for $5 you get the best talk in all of pro wrestling. That's right, I said all of pro wrestling for just $5. Also, like and subscribe right here at the PWCnetwork.podbean.com where you can get all our shows, including myself and Jeff and the both of us, like right here, right now, for the Friday Night SmackTalk. Also at MediaGroup.podbean.com for all our affiliate shows, including Jeff's and John's. As a matter of fact, I'll plug John there too, with the Star Trek podcast that he does with Triple D. And I think that's about it, man. So in saying that, Jeff, I'm Jimmy T. That's Jeff Lippman, and you've been listening and watching the PWC Friday Night SmackTalk on a Saturday, right here on the PWC Network. And I'm out, skis. And before I do go out, Media M5 says I got to check out Garden of Doom. Well,
Yes,
subscribe
you
to
do.
the PWCnetwork.podbean.com, Mikey, and you will see and listen to Garden of Doom.
Feel free to download it and subscribe on the whole platforms. By the way, thank you, man. By the way, my handle today, Drunk Drafting Established 1990, is because this drafting seemed like it was done by drunk people. 1990 is the year I turned 21.
Right, exactly. Well, first of all, you don't have to just go to Podbean. You can like and subscribe at Spotify, iTunes, literally every platform you can find, Mikey. We're there. Everything.
Everywhere.
We're everywhere, literally. Anywhere where you download your favorite podcasts,
Like
we're there.
in the brook, we are worldwide.
Oh, and speaking of Podbean, actually, he just reminded me because we haven't done this in a long time, Jeff. But before we do go, hey, haven't you ever wanted your own show, even though we just plugged your show?
I thought about doing it, but I've been afraid because I didn't know where to start.
Well, don't be afraid, Jeff, because if you need to start, you can right here at podbean.com/affiliate code PWC Network, where
Go on.
yeah, we give you a free month on us. That's
Do
right,
tell.
you heard right. Well, if you subscribe,
You mean like
to
a whole lunar month plus 2 or 3 days?
yes, well, no, 30 days, 30 days only.
Only 30 days. Oh,
Only
lunar
30
month
days.
plus 2 days.
But it's 30 days on us at the PWC Network. If you go to podbean.com/affiliate code PWC Network,
That's right.
you get a free month on us and Podbean. So thank you,
good,
Podbean.
We're so good. I mean, we're paying for it, and we're inviting you to compete with us.
Wow, it is what it is. Once again, podbean.com/PWC Network, and you get a free month on us. So yeah, what are you waiting for? Well, anyway, I guess it's a goodbyes for now. So see you later. Until later, because I don't know if we're doing Uncaged soon. We're doing it now, or do we wait for Chris? Either way, you will see us sometime either tonight or tomorrow. We just don't even know what time yet. But in saying that,
It'll probably be later tonight. It'll be Uncaged, and Chris will definitely be there. The question is whether I'll be there. But everyone, more importantly than that, stay evil, my friends.
stay evil. In saying that, yeah, peace out. And Medium 5, we'll see. We've got to talk about it. Anyway, bon voyage. Bye.
PWC Network. What the world is watching and listening to.